get started. So I'm Sam, for those of you who I don't know. I teach every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And when I teach on Tuesdays, because it's kind of a in-between time, I've been trying to do, make it so you can kind of take it at your own pace. So offering modifications as well as offering the option to skip the vinyasa or skip the chaturangas and just, rest if you need. If you're getting ready to relax for the evening, maybe just skip whatever you want and come into a child's pose or downward facing dog and just take it easy. So with that being said, we're going to get started in a seated position. So just moving the flesh from underneath your sits bones. Bringing your palms down to your knees, palms facing up. Our palms facing up can help us receive positive energy and maybe receive something else that we're in need of tonight. Just close your eyes. Begin to slow down the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. As you exhale, imagine that you're exhaling out any tension, any stress that you might have brought onto your mat today. Beginning to practice your Ujjayi pranayama or your Ujjayi breath. This is an audible breath where we breathe in and out strictly through our nose. So when you inhale, drag the breath along the back of your throat. And as you exhale, imagine as if you are fogging up a window with your lips closed. So this should almost sound like a gentle wave. Our Ujjayi breath helps us build heat in the body, helps calm our central nervous system. At your neck, open the eyes. On an inhale, bring hands up overhead. And as you exhale, twist to the right, bringing your left hand to your right knee, placing your right hand behind you, turning your head, overlooking your right shoulder blade, When you inhale, imagine lengthening through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, twist a little deeper. Next, inhale, coming back to center, bringing hands up overhead. And as you exhale, twisting to the left, bringing your right hand to your left knee. Sending gaze over your shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Coming back to center, bringing hands up overhead for a nice stretch here. Exhale, bringing hands down. We're going to just do some neck rolls here. So just getting the tension out of the neck. Rolling your head one direction, maybe bringing your left ear to your left shoulder. And bringing your right ear to your right shoulder. Gently rolling forward and back. And then eventually Maybe rolling your head backwards very gently. Rolling it one direction and then the next. Coming back to center, we're gonna bring our right ear down towards our right shoulder gently with our hand. Just feeling that amazing stretch in the side of the neck. And slowly coming back up and switching the direction. Slowly coming back to center. Next, we're going to do a seated forward fold. So on an inhale, bringing hands up overhead. As you exhale, folding forward, letting the head and the neck relax. Walking fingertips out, relaxing through the neck. Slowly coming back up and then switching the directions of your legs. So if you're twisted, if you're seated one direction, switching the opposite leg. So if the other one is on top. Inhaling, arms up overhead, and exhale, folding forward again. Deep, you can walk your hands out just a couple more inches. Good. And slowly coming back up. We're going to make our way into a tabletop position. Knees stacked under shoulders. Hands stacked under shoulders. Knees separated hip width. We're going to move into our cat and cow. So on an inhale, dropping your belly low, sending your gaze up, lifting the tailbone up. As you exhale, cat pose, arching the spine, sending your gaze towards your navel. Inhale, back to cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Taking a few more rounds of cat and cow here, following your own natural breath. Maybe inviting some extra movements in here that feel good, maybe some hip rotations, hip circles. Just beginning to warm up our spine. After your next exhale, come back to that neutral flat back tabletop position. On an inhale, extend your right arm out in front of you, and then extend your left foot out behind you. So it should almost feel as if you could stamp the back wall with your left foot. Just gonna hold this for a few breaths, engaging the core here, getting us a little bit warmed up. Just keep breathing, engaging that core. And release. Moving on to the other side, extending the left hand out and the right foot out behind you. Flexing that foot, engaging the core. And release. Take one more cat and cow here. Next is downward facing dog. So curling the toes, sending hips to the sky, making an inverted V shape with your body here. This is our first downward facing dog for a lot of us today. So we might be feeling tight in the hamstrings. Maybe pedaling out the feet feels good here. Letting the head hang heavy. Begin to find your drishti in this pose. Our drishti is our focal point, something to focus our attention on, either on the back of the mat or the back of the space. You can find our drishti in every pose. If you haven't found stillness yet, find that now. On an inhale, we're going to send our right leg to the sky, opening up the hip here, so bending at the knee, maybe doing a couple of hip circles, one direction, and then changing the direction. On an inhale, send that right leg high again. As you exhale, step it through to a low lunge. So lowering the left knee down, uncurling the toes. Just feel this incredible stretch in the hip. Just going to take a couple breaths here. Begin to place your left palm down on the mat on the inside of your right foot. Bringing your right hand to the sky for a nice twist here. On an inhale, reach that hand a little higher. Exhale, release hand down. Next is a half split. So beginning to straighten through the front leg. Taking this to wherever is comfortable for you. Your leg doesn't need to be totally straight. Maybe you have a little bit of a bend in the knee. Just taking it to where you feel a stretch. Maybe letting the head hang down towards the shin. Just getting warmed up. Slowly releasing, coming back to that low lunge. Curling the back toe, sending the right leg back up towards the sky, and exhale, place it back down, downward facing dog. Moving to the other side, on an inhale, send your left leg to the sky, bending at the knee and opening up that hip. Taking some hip circles, one direction, then changing the direction. Next inhale, high. Exhale, step it through, low lunge, uncurling the toes. Next is our twist to the other side. So right hand remains on the mat, left hand reaches up. Inhale, reach a little higher. Exhale, release hand down, taking that half splits on the left side. Again, just taking this to where it feels comfortable for you. Keep breathing. Slowly releasing back to our low lunge. Curling the toes, sending the left foot back up high to the sky, and then exhaling it down to a downward facing dog. Once you're in your downward facing dog, send your gaze forward and then begin to walk your feet forward to the top of the mat for ragdoll pose. In ragdoll pose, our feet are hip distance apart. You can grasp onto opposite elbows, letting the head hang heavy. Knees can be bent here. Notice if you're holding any tension in the jaw or in the face. Try to let that go. Maybe sway side to side or just find stillness. Slowly release your hands down towards your mat, and on a slow inhale with your chin tucked close to your chest, begin to rise to a standing position. One vertebrae at a time. When you arrive, roll up the shoulders several times, one direction, and changing the direction. You're going to bring hands overhead on an inhale. As you exhale, hands to heart center, Samasthiti, standing at attention pose. This is when we can set our intention for our practice, maybe our week ahead. Maybe it's a dedication or a word. Just take a few rounds of breath to set that intention. Next, exhale, open the eyes, releasing hands down to your side. We're going to move into our first sun salutation A. On an inhale, mountain pose, hands come up overhead, feet are grounded into the earth, spine is elongated. Take a few breaths here in your first mountain pose, Tadasana. Next, exhale, fold forward. Head hangs heavy here. Hands should graze the earth or maybe blocks so your knees can be deeply bent. On an inhale, halfway lift, back is flat, core is engaged, gaze is several inches in front of the mat. Your hands can either remain on shins or maybe come up to your knees. Next, exhale, plant the palms on the mat and step back to your high plank pose. You can bring your knees down if you want something a little more restorative tonight. Otherwise, we're going to hold in our plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to lower all the way down to our bellies, all the way down to the mat. Hands come underneath our shoulders. On an inhale, lifting up slightly for a baby cobra, so our chest and chins come off the mat. Just hold this for a couple breaths. Don't hold your breath, just hold the pose. And an exhale, coming back through tabletop position and then downward facing dog. This is called a flow, so we're going to move through that sequence one breath per movement. If Chaturanga is in your practice today, you can go ahead and take that instead of the baby cobra. If you're looking for something a little bit more restorative tonight, just taking the baby cobra and then moving into a down dog might be for you. So coming into our downward facing dog, taking a deep collective inhale together. As you exhale, step to the top of the mat. Inhale to a halfway lift, back is flat. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, mountain pose, rise up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms on the mat, stepping back, flowing through your high to low plank. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Exhale it out. Deep breath in. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms on the mat, high to low plank. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. I'm gonna flow through that one more time. Taking a deep breath in here. Exhale it out. Deep breath in. Exhale, step or hop, top of mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms on the mat, high to low plank. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, coming into a child's pose. Knees come wide. Forehead rests down on the mat, hands walk out. Just take a few breaths here. Child's pose is our resting pose. Feel free to come back here at any point throughout your practice tonight. I can't see you, so you could spend the whole class in child's pose if you wish. I'm going to do a little stretch here, so begin to walk your hands towards the right, remaining with your head down on the mat. Just feel that side stretch in the left side here. Coming back to center. Coming back to center. Maybe rolling out the forehead a little bit here, giving yourself a little massage. Before we make our way back into our downward facing dog. So coming back here when you're ready, we move through our next Sun B. And then inhale, send your right leg high to the sky. As you exhale, step your right foot forward, rising up to a warrior one. In warrior one, our right knee is stacked over right ankle. Heel to heel alignment. Shoulders squared to the front of the space. Notice if you're squeezing your shoulders up, try to release the tension of your shoulders down. Just keep breathing, finding that drishti, finding that focal point. Next is humble warrior. Bringing our hands behind our back, interlacing our fingers. On an inhale, shine that heart space forward. And as you exhale, fold forward, bringing your right shoulder to the outside of your right knee. Letting the head hang heavy here. Slowly coming back up to that warrior one. Next, exhale, warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. In warrior 2, our hands are out to a T. Drishti is over our front middle finger. Right knee stacked over right ankle. So in warrior 1 and warrior 2, the bottom half of our body should remain the same. Keep breathing. Switch directions. Next is reverse warrior. So bringing our left hand on the back of our leg, right hand up towards the sky. This is uncomfortable. You can bring your left hand to your lower back. And gaze can either be up towards fingertips or maybe down towards your left foot, whatever is more comfortable for your neck. Keep breathing here. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, cartwheel the right hand followed by the left, stepping back and taking that high to low plank, or maybe just skipping it and meeting us in a downward facing dog. Once you're in that downward facing dog, we're going to move to the left side. So on an inhale, sending left leg high. Exhale, step it through, rising up, warrior one. Taking a few breaths here. Getting comfortable on the other side. Maybe bending and extending the knee. Changing up the stance. Keep breathing. Humble warriors next, interlacing the fingers behind the back. On an inhale, heart shines up. Exhale, fold forward, left shoulder towards left knee. Many of us sit a lot of the day, maybe in our cars or at our desks. This is an incredible stretch to do if you ever have any shoulder tightness. Slowly rising back up to warrior one. Exhale, opening up to warrior two. Finding that drishti, finding that breath. On an inhale, reverse your warrior. Right hand comes down, back leg, left hand to the sky. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, cartwheeling the hands down to the mat, taking your high to low plank or meeting us in a downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Maybe grab a drink of water. Listen to your body tonight. This is your practice. This is your time. We're going to flow through that. One breath per movement, one on each side. And again, skipping the flow if you want to just take a more restorative approach. Coming back to that downward facing dog. Exhale out all your stale air. On an inhale, send your right leg high. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, cartwheel the hands high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. On an inhale, send your left leg high. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, coming into child's pose. Take a couple breaths. Coming back into downward facing dog when you're ready. We're going to move into our crescent lunge series. On an inhale, send your right leg high. As you exhale, step it through, rising up to crescent lunge. So if you need, you can bring your left knee down to the mat, or you can keep your left knee up Your feet should be hip distance apart here. So imagine that you're standing on a railroad tracks rather than a balance beam. Just keep breathing here. We're gonna do a couple goalpost arm heart openers. So on an inhale, reach those arms up. As you exhale, goalpost the arms, opening up that chest, that heart space. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, goalpost the arms. Inhale, rise up. This time as you exhale, open arm twist to the right. So again, your back knee can be down. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist. Keep breathing. Twisting poses help us bring out tension, help us bring out stress. Imagine that with every twist, you're letting go of some tension that you've been holding in your body. Next is Exalted Warrior. So you're gonna bring your right hand towards the back of your left leg. Left hand comes to the sky. Keep breathing. Slowly releasing back to that open arm twist. And coming back up and opening up to our Warrior Two. You guys with me? So in Warrior Two, our right knee should be stacked. Next, we're gonna do extended side angle. So bringing our right forearm down to our thigh, left hand comes overhead. Maybe for extended side angle, you bring this hand over the top of your body here for an extra side body stretch. Just keep breathing into the pose. On an inhale, reverse your warrior. Left hand comes down, right hand high. Just take a couple breaths here. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands and just come back into a downward facing dog. Moving on to the left side. On an inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step it through, coming into our crescent lunge. I'm going to bring my knee down for this round. It's effective, very effective both ways. Listen to your body. You're going to do that heart opener. And inhale, reaching the hands up. Exhale, opening up the chest. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, open. Inhale, coming back up. And this time exhaling, twisting to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Next is Exalted Warrior. Left hand down the back of your right leg. Right hand to the sky. Coming back to that twist, you might want to bring the knee up. As we open up, coming back to center, opening up to Warrior Two. Sorry if the transition was a little weird. Once you're in Warrior Two, we're going to move to extended side angle. Left forearm, left thigh, right hand high. Notice if your shoulder's falling forward, try to keep the shoulders stacked here. On an inhale, reverse your warrior. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands, coming into our down dog. Maybe lowering into a child's pose. You begin to slow things down. Moving into our triangle series, coming into a down dog if you're not there yet. On an inhale, send your right leg high. As you exhale, step it through, rising up to your warrior two. We won't be here long. Trikonasana, triangle pose is next. You might want to have a block handy towards your right foot. On an inhale, straighten through the front leg, sending hips back. As you exhale, shift forward, bringing your hand down to your ankle, shin, maybe a block. Left hand reaches high. Stacking the shoulders. If you're feeling any discomfort or pinching, maybe try bringing your hand up towards, a little closer towards your knee. Begin to slowly rise up to a standing position as we move into Prasarita. In Prasarita, our feet are parallel to each other, facing the side of your mat. Hands can come to your waist. Take a deep inhale, shining that heart space forward. As you exhale, fold forward, bringing the head down. Hands can come to a block or the earth. Just let the head hang heavy here. Maybe you find stillness or move from one foot to the other, whatever feels good. If you haven't found stillness yet, find that now. On an inhale, we're going to lift up halfway, back is flat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Pivoting toes to the front of the mat. Placing your palms on the mat, then coming back into our downward facing dog. I think this is our last down dog of the class. Moving on to the other side. On an inhale, send your left leg high. As you exhale, step it through, rising up, warrior two. Triangle pose is next. On an inhale, straightening through the front leg. Exhale, bringing left hand down, right hand high. Your body should feel as if it is between two panes of glass here, so really stacking the shoulders. Slowly rising to standing. As we move into Prasarita one more time. If you'd like a variation here, you can bring your hands interlaced behind your back. And this time as you fold forward into Prasarita, you can bring hands up for an extra shoulder stretch. Or maybe just bring your hands down to the mat if this is uncomfortable. Begin to find stillness, bringing hands to the center of the mat. And then begin to walk your hands towards the front of your mat, bending at the knees, and then lowering down onto the ground. Coming into a tabletop position and then eventually lowering down all the way onto your belly. We're going to do just one spine exercise tonight. We're going to do locust pose. So bringing your hands to your sides, palms facing up. Your cheek can come to the mat for a moment. Begin to slowly bring your head up so your chin is towards the center of your mat. On an inhale, lift your chin and chest off of the mat, maybe lifting your hands up and maybe lifting your legs up here as well. Any pregnant mamas out there, take this at your own pace. Just do what feels good for you. Exhale, release, bringing your right cheek to the mat. And coming back to center, we're going to do that one more time. On an inhale, lifting chin and chest off of the mat. Exhale, release. Opposite cheek down to the mat. Begin to make your way into a child's pose position, moving through tabletop. One more child's pose tonight. And eventually slowly coming back into a tabletop and then making your way onto your seat. Begin to lower all the way down onto the mat. Hug your knees into your chest if that feels good. Next, we're going to do a reclined half pigeon pose. So bending at the right knee and bringing your right ankle towards your left knee. If you can feel the stretch here, you can just remain here. Otherwise, bring your hands underneath your left leg and begin to pull your leg towards you until you feel that stretch in the hip flexor. Releasing your right foot down and then switching directions. Beginning to release the left foot down and bringing both knees into your chest for a little hug. Next is Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined butterfly pose. Bringing the soles of your feet together, letting your knees go open. Maybe bringing one hand to the belly, one to the heart. Just beginning to slow down the rhythm of your breath. Let's say if you are pregnant, maybe remain here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Otherwise, we're gonna move into a supine twist. So bringing your knees into your chest, bringing your arms out to a T. On an exhale, bringing your knees towards the right. So stacking them on top of each other, sending your gaze over towards your left hand. Slowly coming back to center. Then dropping your knees over towards your left, sending gaze over towards your right hand. Slowly coming back to center. Giving yourself one more hug here. Give yourself the biggest hug you've given yourself all day, all week. And then release. Happy baby pose is next. So grasping onto the outside of your feet. Maybe rolling back and forth on your back or just finding stillness here. It is storming like crazy here. You guys can hear that. any last minute pose that you'd like to take today, now is your time to do so. Otherwise, you can begin to stretch yourself out long. Maybe take a full body stretch. Before we all meet in our final resting pose, Shavasana. Beginning to find a comfortable position. Bringing your feet as wide as your mat, letting them flop open. Allowing yourself to take up as much space as you'd like. Maybe finding a pillow or a blanket. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like tonight. That's the benefit of doing yoga from your own house. Begin to close the eyes and let go of all control of your breath. Let go of any tension in the face or in the jaw. Letting your head sink into the mat. Releasing tension through the neck and the shoulders. Feeling your shoulders go heavy into the earth. Moving down your back. Releasing tension through your lower back, through your hips, your thighs, your calves, your ankles, your feet. Feeling the tension release in your arms, your wrists, and your hands. As you continue to scan your body, imagine more and more tension releasing into the earth. Begin to slowly bring awareness back into your body. Begin to wiggle the toes and the fingers. Bring hands overhead for one more full body stretch. Before you move into the fetal position on your right side, resting your head on your arm. Keeping your eyes closed, just take another moment here. We spend so much of our time, so much of our days thinking about what we have to do next, where we have to be. Take comfort in knowing that you just have to be right here in this present moment. Begin to slowly push yourself up into a seated position. Eyes can remain closed here. Bringing hands to heart center. Just taking a few more breaths. Taking a few more breaths in this present moment. Thank you so much for joining me in practice today. You should all thank yourselves for making it to your mat tonight. I hope to see you again next week. Have a great week. Namaste.